What is going on, the Ghost Squad and CloverTac crew? Welcome to the Ghost and Clover Podcast, episode number 11, powered by our good friends over at EAA, or European American Armory. We are live, as always, on YouTube, going to be out there in the podcast world on both Clover's and my podcast worlds out there. But if you're out here live, let us know that you're out there. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. More importantly, if you leave any comment, it could be anything. Tell us how bad looking we are, how bad at this we are, how great we are, whatever it is. If you say something or anything in the chat, you could be randomly picked to come up with a third random viewer topic. So that's how you enter into that. You got to be present to win, obviously. But we're going to have fun. If you guys are new to this podcast, new to this show, basically what happens, you have two idiots like us that sit around and talk about random things. We both bring a topic to the table. We don't know what the other person's talking about or what the other topic is until we actually say it. So y'all are finding out as soon as we find out as well. And then the third segment, like we said, random viewer topic. So get those questions in your mind. We will pretty much be able to talk about anything that won't get us kicked off of YouTube. Like you said, we are powered by EAA, and we'll talk a little bit more about them here in a minute. But before we do that, let's bring in Clover. What's up, homie?
Yo, not a lot, man. I feel a little bit robbed in a way because we're doing back-to-back shows and we're not getting paid extra for this. I don't think so. I don't know.
Probably not. Yeah, if you guys are wondering,
we need a new agent.
I would say so. Yeah, we definitely need a new agent. Look, I've been trying to get drafted for 30 years into the NBA. My 30th year of eligibility, and I still haven't been drafted. So I'm thinking unfortunately, the same agent that I used to get drafted in the NBA is also the same agent we're using for all of our media stuff. Clover, I think that I need to find me a new agent.
Yeah, we may have to call Jerry Maguire or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Show me the money.
That's right. Yes, if you guys are wondering why we're doing it this week, we both have engagements next weekend that would prevent us from doing the regularly scheduled date. So we decided to go ahead and do it this week, and then we'll go 2 weeks and onward and so forth.
Until we have to change it again, of course.
Until we have to change again, which will probably be in another couple months or something. You never know.
Right. Yeah.
It's real quick before we get going, Clover's gonna have the first topic tonight. But before we do that, we always do want to say thank you to all of our supporters on each side, the Ghost Tactical and CloverTac patrons, YouTube memberships, really anyone that just shows up, watches our stuff, leaves comments, shows up to the live shows, and just participates. We appreciate you guys. And we also invite you to check out our sponsors, EAA and Taurus, and those. We'll talk more about them later down the line, but support those people as well. They're good people, great companies. But what do you think, brother? I know that we both kind of had busy Saturdays. It's nice to hang out and talk. I think you got first topic. You got first topic. Let's get this shindig rolling.
Yeah, let's do it. So I came up with my topic about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay, nice.
So it fits in really, really good this evening. I got some. Whatever you call it, racks or mounts or whatever you want to call it, for long guns.
Oh, okay.
I picked up a couple of sets from Amazon Vine. They ended up having, it was a 12 gun rack setup. And then like a couple days later, another company put up one that was almost identical. And I was like, oh snap, send me that, please. So I've now got a 24 gun rack set up. It's sitting here. Both of those boxes come in. And so I thought, let's talk a little bit about storage and how we store and some other things, I think, because there's a few things I don't want to put these in like the panic room, that type of thing. I would prefer to put these, I'm working on, as you know, I've pretty much overtaken our living room. And I've been working on the folks that have followed the podcast the last couple of seasons have been done in various corners. If you follow the card channel, that's in a corner type thing. I want a corner for 3D printing. I've just been doing things in there because everything's kind of right there and it's easy to go to. There's really not any setup or anything crazy. It's similar, I guess, to a situation you have uh, there in your little office with the setup. But anyway, I
Mhm.
want to put them up in there. And again, I want to talk about general gun storage in general and ways that we display and store and do things. But in talking about these racks, I got a concern like, and I just want to throw this out there, I guess, first, and then we can get into the bigger idea of storage, I suppose. But I want to put these up. So I would have essentially 21 long guns. They wouldn't be in a safe, right? They wouldn't be in some
Mhm.
kind of hidden room or, locked behind a cabinet. And my thoughts, here's my thought. The odds of anybody breaking in, you know this on me with a lot of different factors at play are kind of low. If you were going to have a setup like that, I'm
Mhm.
thinking I use cabling, kind of like they would. You see gun shops use that. You see Walmart do it with the bicycles, right? You see, um, I could put several eye bolts, big heavy duty eye bolts into the studs at various intervals, right? And I
Mhm.
could cable through all the trigger guards to all of them together, right?
Mhm.
And I could even go a step further because the bottom part of these, obviously, it's a part where the stock sits, and there's a part that it leans up against to the barrel or the handguard.
Right.
Uh, I could go a step further and weave the cable through that bottom piece, which is a solid round hoop, right? Of course, with
Mhm.
the eye hooks in the wall, I don't know that that would be necessary. Do something like that and then just like padlock it, right? And
Mhm.
so, you know, it's one of those situations to where I think it would be just as secure as a gun cabinet. Probably just as secure as any type of a storage container that's not a bona fide safe, right?
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
those thin cabinets you get at whatever, the $100, $200 cabinets. Some of them are a little more
Yeah.
expensive than that. Just sheet metal. I don't see that being any less secure than something like that. So, just curious, what is first of all, that's my question is, what do you think about that type of a setup to secure that stuff or keep it secure?
So yeah, in my office, I've got several pieces of metal pegboard that I use to display some stuff. Um, just to have. Now, I am eventually this fall going to go to slat wall,
That's what
and
these are. These are slat panels.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
really like slat wall, so I'm going to go and that'll cover up the whole wall
I think.
or helmets
There.
or whatever
Yeah,
I want to put on there. I'd have a
yeah.
lot more room. Now that said, I do agree with you that um, gun cabinets per se are not the most secure because let's be honest, even if they can't get the key, if they have two people, they can probably pick up the gun cabinet and just walk out with
Or
it. You know what I'm saying?
crowbar it. I mean,
Or
most of those
crowbar it,
thin
or just
ones.
stick a
Yeah,
sledgehammer to the door. It'll probably open.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so the gun cabinet in general, I don't have a problem with. I've got one right here. I don't have a problem with them. I tell you what, I suggest people using them for more than anything else is maybe storage of ammo or something like that, or
Yeah.
holsters or optics or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the two I've got are basically ammo reloading supply lockers, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The two thin
Um,
ones, the little ones that I've got. Or so I don't say little as far as size, but thin. When I say little, I mean thin. Yeah.
yeah. So as far as the security of it, um,
Well, you've got a lot of things that have to happen in order before anybody ever gets to that point of being able to
that's
make the decision of I'm going to steal these. So,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah,
Um, unless you live in a place, I live in a similar place to you as far as the threat of someone breaking in our house is not very plausible. Not saying it could never happen. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying
Right.
it's not likely, you know.
Yeah.
So that brings a whole nother consideration in is you know, are you paranoid of that happening? So
Right.
I would say if you're not necessarily paranoid of that happening, then aside from all the other things that have to happen before they get to that room, um, I don't know if you need to secure them on the slat wall. Now, what I might suggest is putting up guns on the slat wall that, should the worst case scenario happen,
Well,
you do not mind losing. But what
yeah.
I'm saying is,
Well, I'd
for me,
not. I would.
it's
Yeah.
not big of it's not as big of an issue to
Yeah.
secure them on that display. In my situation, now if I live somewhere else, that might be a much different scenario.
Well, even if the scenario arises where you had a door kicker, I just feel like if I had some type of a cabling system on them, um, unless they've brought tools with them or something, which most likely a door kicker's not going to have
No,
that, right?
no,
And I'm not elaborating as to the complete setup and how it's going to be. So you mean you'd have to
correct.
have the right tools even then. Um, so, but I see it more as if something got to that point, maybe. I do hear you on it. Definitely, I would not put anything there. It would be mostly modern stuff, and honestly, mostly stuff that I use pretty frequently on the channel, which has its
Sure.
as well as I do. You didn't even know I owned the Tech 9 until a few months back,
I
right?
did not,
Um,
no,
I
not.
don't break out my older stuff very often, and the more
Yeah,
valuable stuff very often. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is, in the event of a fire, which is a much more likely threat to me than
correct.
burglary, than a break-in. Um, I don't want to lose something like that. Insurance, I have triple insurance on my firearms. So,
Yeah,
the whatever the burst AR-15, let's say on the wall, on the slat wall, it burns up. Oh well, right? Like it
yeah.
can be replaced.
Yeah, I think that I do like the idea of the cable system. And if anyone's ever kind of been to a large gun show or an industry show,
Well, a
a
lot of
lot
gun shops
of
do that with theirs on the rack when they close too.
this is true too. This is true too. Um, you know, the interesting thing is it would be probably a lot more time consuming and a lot more of a hassle, but at least handguns, they all come with a padlock, and you could utilize those if you don't. I'm not saying you, I'm saying if someone out there wants to hook up their guns on a slat wall or whatever, um, they all come with locks, and you could utilize the locks that come with your firearms. So if you don't want to go out and buy a wiring harness system and all of that, I do like that idea, especially if you can secure them to a stud, um, or if you're gonna put the slat wall or peg wall up on the wall, maybe utilizing like a 2x4 or two by
Well,
two
these
or
are
something like that to mount them on there. You could secure those wires
so
to those as well.
yeah. So the hooks on these are slat wall style hooks where they've got the hook on top and then they
Yep.
kind of clip down on the bottom. But it's not slat wall. So it's just one, imagine one slat, right? So there's actually multiple slat pieces, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not like a whole wall. Like once I mount them, I can't be moving them around. In other
No, I
words,
get
is what
that.
I'm
Yeah.
saying.
No, I
Yeah, yeah,
get
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not a whole wall, but
I
yeah,
just I
my
just
my thought.
call it slat wall, like the slat
Well,
area, that
for
slat wall.
weight, for weight and for tilt, I was thinking about this because I like, um, I like when I have a rack like that. I like the barrel and all to have some lean backwards.
I'm the same
Um,
way.
and so a pretty good lean backwards too, by the way. And I think in
You
order to
you
do
mean
that,
a barrel up, correct?
Right, barrel up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Needs to be
So,
able, that means, yeah.
yeah, I like to have a little bit of a tilt backwards on these.
Mhm,
And so I'm already going to have to put, I think probably I'm going to run a 1 by or something behind the bottom runner
mhm,
on them
mhm.
just to give it an extra inch or so uh, to come out. I think that'll give it a little extra lean, and I think I'll be happy with that. Um, but yeah, what I'm talking about is like you've got 24 because again I've got two 12 gun sets. So when I
Yeah.
run a cable through 24 trigger guards and let's say four 1 inch eye hooks
Mhm.
directly into the studs. Well, let's say 1 inch, and let's say I go, good Lord, 4 or 6 inch long, right? Or whatever it is, four
Sure.
inch, let's say, threads on them into the studs. Like, what are you going to do with those? I mean, barehanded,
Yeah.
for example, without any tools or without anything else, you know?
Well, see, that's kind of where I was going. Is I'm not saying you don't need any kind of security, but as far as bolts or wires or some kind of a wiring system or whatever. But I think that what we're talking about for the most part are the
I like
door
the idea of it, though,
I no, I agree, but what I'm saying to you is I don't think that people need to go over the top of getting security cameras and all of this
Right.
stuff, because if you can make it just the least bit hard for them, they're in their mind trying to get in and out as quickly as possible. And if you deter them
Right.
to waste a couple minutes trying to just get one gun off the wall, then you know what? They're probably just going to go try to find something valuable in the house and they leave
Yeah.
your guns.
And
You know,
especially multiple deterrents, right? And a lot of people don't think about
correct.
that, but like, do you have adequate lighting outside? How difficult is it
Mm,
to get into your house? Do they see a camera out there? Do they, you've got all of these multiple layers of deterrents, and then they've gotten through all of those, and then here's another one, and it's like typically it's going to be like a smash and grab, type thing,
absolutely.
and a cable system or something like that, I think, is adequate for a smash and grab. Honestly, I think probably the the lockers we were talking about, the sheet metal or
Mhm.
whatever you want to call them, lockers are great. I know James out there is talking about having something like that
Yep.
bolted to the floor. Now, yeah, you take one of those and bolt it to the floor, and
That's the deterrent right there.
yeah, I mean that's they're not going to waste time with that, you know.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, just I know we got a maybe a few minutes here, but
Yeah.
the just general storage. I mean, I'll have that, of course. I've got gun cabinets. I've got in each place I've got that my stuff is at.
Mm.
Um, where do you come down on? And folks out there listening, or if you're live or if you're in the replay, you can comment below, of course, always. But I'm wondering where folks come down on because I do hear people pretty regularly. It's like, oh, you need a safe for all your guns, and I'm like,
Mm.
do I
Nope.
really? You don't have as many as me, obviously, if you're saying that, because you would spend more than my house is worth on safes. Um,
Right.
so like, where do you come down on that idea of you got to have a safe for all your guns?
No, I
Do
don't.
you? Do you?
Yeah, I don't. So I think that they're necessary for certain items, certain things, the valuable, the ones that you don't want to lose. Here's the thing: a lot of people, not saying everyone, but a lot of people utilize safes, gun safes, not for keeping people out of them. It's for fire. Like you brought up fire. A lot of
Oh
those
yeah.
gun safes are fireproof. And they not only put for firearms in there, they'll put jewelry, they'll put cash, they'll put
Yep.
documents in that
Agreed.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so gun safes are not necessarily always for guns. And if they are, they're probably the ones that are not in any way, shape, or form replaceable either by because they're not findable or they have an incredible sentimental value.
Right.
So gun safes are there to protect those, not just from burglary, but from more like
Yeah.
fire, flooding, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Well, so I'm thinking about this cable system, and I'm thinking about even my handguns that have that are in boxes. And I'm thinking, I'm just throwing this out there as an idea for people that may have multiple handguns, multiple factory, with boxes, or maybe even it's an aftermarket box. Most boxes have a little spot for a lock, right?
They do. And it
So
usually
what
comes.
if you, so if you wanted to, what if you locked all of your handgun cases and then run a cable through those locks
Mm-hmm.
into some eye bolts in the wall, and then let's say you had your handguns all in the boxes on the top shelf of the closet, for example.
Sure.
I can see a way of securing them like that. You know, and it'd be similar to what I'm talking about. I think it would be
Yeah.
sufficient for most situations, for the smash and grab situations, anyway.
Yeah. I think that what people need to do when they talk about securing their firearms is, and it's all going to be an individual thing, but they need to have a discussion with themselves as like, what or who am I trying to secure them from? Is
Right.
it the smash and grab? Is it kids? Is it, what is it? Because that is going to help dictate what, process and what instruments and what panels or what safes or what cabinets or whatever you're using. That's going to help you go along to decide which way is the best way, is figuring out
Right.
what are you trying to secure? What's your purpose for this location or this type of security? Is it for this, or this? And then go from there, because for some people, it very well may need to be, they need a slot or a spot in a safe for every single firearm they own. They very well
Right.
may need that.
Right.
Other people may not,
Yeah. Hit a couple of comments real quick out there. First, Rod with Aegis Gun Care, he says, "Why is the lean back so important to you?" I've seen stuff fall out of racks that
Mhm.
wasn't leaned back just a little bit, so like gravity is doing its job. Whether the opposite side of the wall, something gets bumped into it, or sometimes thunder, believe it or not, lightning strike real close with loud thunder rattling. Things like that. I'm not talking about a drastic lean, Rod. I'm literally talking about the bottom being out maybe an inch further. So by the
Yeah.
time you draw that angle, I mean, you're not talking about an extreme angle or anything
Yeah.
like that. And then Chicago Mike says out there, do you need a safe for your EDC? That's a call everybody has got to make,
That's
dependent
your own.
upon their situation.
That's
A
right.
single dude, a single bachelor dude is going to be a much different situation than the father of a couple of kids under the age of 5, for example,
Yep.
or something like that. Everybody's kind of got to
And
make that
someone
call.
living out in on a ranch or a farm is going to be different than someone living in downtown, city.
Yeah, this is true. I think if you do go safe for your EDC, I mean, it needs to be readily and quickly accessible. And I think that you need to regularly and routinely practice getting
Yes.
to that as quickly as you possibly can. Speaking about getting to stuff as quickly as we possibly can, we've got to move on here. Got
Yeah.
to. I'm gonna force the call, and we're gonna start by talking about EAA and European American Armory. And I noticed something when the pre-roll, the montage, the intro was rolling there. What if
Mhm.
we change that up? We've got to do some design changes anyway to the cover art
Sure.
and the background here and some other things. Um, what if could we possibly do some kind of I don't want to say photo shoot, but some kind of B-roll thing, or find some clips and make that all Gersan, I mean all EAA and all maybe
Easy.
all Taurus?
Absolutely. That's easy. Not a problem.
That could be potentially cool.
Yeah, that would not be a problem at all.
Yep.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
So yeah, EAA, have you got a chance to play around? I think I asked you on the last show with your MC14T much.
Yeah, I've got, I haven't shot since that one box I put through. So I've got a box of Hornady through it, which is 20 rounds. They come in a box of 20 in those. I just haven't had time to. I haven't been to the range since then.
Life happens. Yeah,
life happens. But no, I mean, it's just one of those where I'm looking forward to it because Um, I know it's going to I know it handles the defense ammo already. And so if it's going to handle defensive ammo, chances are it'll handle, FMJ ammo and all of that. More importantly, I just can't wait to actually like dive into it and not just shoot it just to see how it cycles and all that. Like dive into it, maybe even put it through with a tip up barrel. Could be interesting to put through the crucible with the elements. Could be interesting to do that. More importantly, I think it's such an awesome design and a fun design. I'd like to, my daughter would come up. She'd probably enjoy shooting it. I might even try to get Yoko to go and shoot it a little bit and help, put that on camera. Not her necessarily on camera because she won't do that, but maybe her hands and her the ease of the manual of arms with this gun. So I'm really looking forward, not just shooting it, but I think that's such a cool design. It's gonna be fun testing it and doing some different things with it. That there's just more options to do because of the actual engineering and tip up barrel. You can have some fun with it.
Yeah. Break out the calamine lotion because I want to talk about one that I'm going to get out here hopefully sometime this week. Just because it's leaned up against the wall in there, and I keep walking by it, and it's like, man, that's so much fun. I got to get it back out, put some rounds down range. Is my MC312 Sport, which is
Yeah.
the Gerson shotguns
Yep.
coming in from EAA. And if you guys out there listening are looking for a solid shotgun, basically have copied the Benelli action, which
Yeah.
is one of the best actions out there as far as a shotgun. A super smooth shooter. It's absolutely amazing. And so, we talk a lot about the handguns and other things from Gerson, but definitely worth throwing those shotguns out there. The MC312 is the Gerson line, and then EAA also has the Churchill line. Most of the Churchill stuff is the 20 gauge, and the action on those is a completely different action. Just so you're aware, they do not do that Benelli action in anything 20 gauge. So
Yeah.
you pick up something 20 gauge. Not that they're not solid shotguns, the ones that I've played with, but they're more of a Mossberg to me. Have more of a Mossberg feel to them than a Benelli. So, but yeah, anytime you can pick up something nice with that Benelli action for half the price of the. I know I've said Benelli way too much in this segment. Uh, then that's a plus for EAA, for European American Armory, and it shows that they're thinking outside the box, and they're really wanting to get, and they're great about that, really wanting to get the value out there to the end user. So yeah, there is our buddy Emil in the house, man. What's happening?
What is up, my brother?
Talked to him on the phone a couple times in the last few days, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
You're up, man.
So it was interesting. Last week we had the whole show dedicated to something to do with food. And once again, we do not tell each other what the topics are. So it just kind of worked out that way. It's going to work out because we hadn't talked guns in a while. I had my topic ready to go, and you bring up gun related topic, the first one. My topic is gun related too. So interesting how this plays out.
The Randall Buer topic may not be though, so
This
we
is no,
never
this is
know
true.
what the audience is going to pick here a little later on.
This is true. This is true. Uh, my topic is, some people call them, I call them battle belts. Some people call them gun belts, duty belts, whatever, but the war belts, whatever you want to call them. But the heavy nylon belts that you wear on top of your other belt that you can put your holster in, some mags, maybe like a first aid kit. I think most people know when I say a battle belt, what we're talking is not like the EDC belt that you wear in the pants. This is the external where everything's already connected. You throw that on. Duty belts, whatever you want to call them, but I call them a battle belt. I wanted to talk to you and ask everybody out there in the chat, not only do you have or use them, but what your thoughts on them. Are they worthwhile in today's regular civilian world? Is it a pointless thing or what? I want to get your thoughts on battle belts or duty belts or whatever you want to call them.
Oh, that's easy, bro. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like Yeah, I don't see any point. I mean, I guess in a competition setting, maybe, depending on the competition. Um, as far as even in a hunting scenario, there's much better rigs, chest rigs and vests and different things
Mm-hmm.
for that hunting, hiking, hunting, whatever scenario. Um, I think are more effective than trying to trot around in a in some type of a battle belt. So,
Yep.
but I think that depends on everybody and where you're at. Like I feel kind of the same way. Let's shift gears, not necessarily the shift topic, but I'm gonna shift gears to something that's adjacent, which is body armor. And
I was
I'm
body
not
armor
in the camp. Yeah,
conversation.
I'm not in the camp that you've got to have body armor. And I know some people will
Yep.
say that, like, "Oh, you need body armor." I don't feel that I would ever need it. Odds are if things went south really quick to the point I needed body armor and a battle belt, right, and
Right.
you know, a what is the word? A battle rifle or whatever, let's just say,
Yep.
odds are I'm in town, I'm away from home, and I don't have that stuff with me anyway. So am I going to cart that stuff around all the time? And the reason I say that is the only use I could see would be for some type of almost like an urban style environment where you had to shoot your way out or whatever
Yep.
of a heavily populated area or something of that nature. The woodsman, the hunter in me, even in that scenario, says I can sneak around, right?
Sure.
Camouflage, being quiet, cover of darkness, all of these other things that
Yep.
I can sneak around and get out of that environment without the need of even being in a firefight. And that's like I said, that may be naive. It may be, who knows? I've never been in that situation, and hopefully, I hope nobody ever has to be in that situation. To be quite honest with you, but yeah. So who knows, right?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, body armor. I would say the body armor, battle belts, all that stuff. It's kind of a polarizing. It's either you're all in or you're no, you know. And it's one of those things where I get both sides of them. I tend to like that stuff, but that's kind of how I came up in this world with guns, was obviously with battle belts and with armor and all that stuff being utilized for a specific reason. So I guess I've just gotten used to it over the years, but I do enjoy a good battle belt because you're able to put first aid kits, you're able to put different magazines for ARs or for pistols or whatever you've got. You've got availability to put a lot of different things on there. I obviously own a lot of armor and plate carriers. But I think that a battle belt is probably more practical than armor. Once again, all this is taken to where I live. I don't suspect that I'll ever have to put body armor where I live. If I do, something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. And there are probably 27 other steps that have happened before I got to that point. That said, I think that everyone probably should have some armor, if nothing else, for your family. That the kiddos or the wife or whatever. If you want to have some for them, whatever. I do think that the ease and the way that you can utilize a battle belt or a duty belt or whatever for organization, to keeping things secure. Where I use mine is I use a Safariland drop leg holster with a QLS system. So the cool thing about that is you can buy the extra, male inserts that to put on any of your holsters that you want, so that I only have one setup for a holster on my battle belt, but I can utilize any gun that I want with that, because I'll put a QLS on a holster for every one of my guns. I have a holster specifically dedicated for that battle belt for every handgun that I have, so I can utilize that with that battle belt. Now, that said, we're talking about armor. There is a question out there from Chicago. Mikey says, do I consider core belt a battle belt? No, a core essentials or next belt or click belt, even though they are a little bit more rigid and all of that, that is nowhere even close to what a battle belt or duty belt is. That's just a really good EDC belt. And there is a distinct, huge difference in an everyday carry belt and what I would consider a battle belt. Yeah, Rod says, who's going to wear body armor anyway? Yeah, I mean, it's terrible to wear body armor. It is what it is. And I like core essentials. I like next belt. I wear next belt every day in my normal job. All the ratchet style belts. But those are EDC belts. And to me, I would never set up an EDC belt the way I would a battle belt. Battle belt's going to be an external belt that is not going to, it's going to go on top of your EDC belt for the most part. What do you think about the EDC belts? Would you set those up somehow, some way as a battle belt or something like that?
No, I don't think I would. They're not, typically they're not heavy enough and not designed for that, unless you've got a short enough duty belt for your EDC belt. None of the EDC belts I've got really are rigid enough for that kind of weight.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I would. And then, they're not designed to be self-supporting or whatever, right?
Sure.
I mean, they're designed to use belt loops and whatnot as support. So,
Yep.
no. I mean, for me, I've got a trench coat like El Duce from, Boondock Saints with all the gun pockets. So I just use that when I go out. Like that's what I'll use. But,
now,
no.
James, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Get your name.
No, James out there was saying he thinks that armor and battle belt's great, but I'm not going to wear them for a trip to the gas station. And that's not what we're talking about. I have my battle belt that will stay in my vehicle, but they're for going to range, they're for competition, they're for training, they're for a lot of different scenarios. Not every day, obviously. They're not going to be. I'm not going to throw my body armor in my battle belt to go to Walmart, obviously. Now you were talking about in your segment about gun storage, and I'm even going to say / gun display. Mm-hmm. Now, right. If you're going to have a battle belt and you're going to have a plate carrier and all of that, and you have like a slat wall or pegboard and all of that, being able to display those or put them on those display walls for ease of access might be a pretty good thing. So you can just, if you ever can get to if something happens, you need to get to it, you know where it is. You don't have to dig through your closet or dig through your safe or dig through a cabinet or whatever. It's on that wall. It's wherever it's easily accessed to where you can get it if you need it. I don't. Right. I do have friends that I know that will keep a battle belt by the bed and right next to their gun. Now, I don't believe that would be necessary, but there are people that do that, and I'm not going to tell them they shouldn't because that's what they feel they need to do. But there are things that you can do. Once again, if you've got a battle belt that you have fully loaded 2 or 3, handgun magazines, you have 2 or 3 AR magazines, you've got, I don't know, some shotgun shells on there. No matter what firearm you're able to pick up to go in and fight that intruder, that battle belt would have ammo there for you to where you don't have to go look. Like I said, I think that they're a positive thing. I like them, but I'm not using them in everyday life. But I do like the ease of keeping everything organized. Everything is in the right spot. You train with it. You do all that. You know exactly where those magazines are at any given time. And all that. But like you said, you can utilize chest rigs, you can utilize H harnesses, you can utilize a lot of different things to get the same done. You could use a backpack if you want. You can just carry a backpack everywhere you go. It can have everything in there and have ease. But the reason why is I had a few comments on one of my battle belt videos, and they asked, why? Like, why? And so I thought it was a good question. battle belts and armor and all that, they are kind of a personal preference, whether you like that stuff or not. I think that if you get into them, I think that you will appreciate their value. You're not going to use them all the time, but I think that you would appreciate the value they bring to your training or your competitive shooting, whatever that may be. But they're not for everyone, and I don't feel like everyone needs to go out and buy a battle belt. I sure as hell don't think anyone needs to go out. Everyone needs to go out and buy out a plate carrier with armor.
Right.
A lot of people utilize plate carriers without armor in them for organization as well. You can put different stuff in the plate carriers as well. So whatever you think that you want to use, what I say is I'd rather have all that stuff ready to go in case the worst case scenario ever happens than wondering how am I going to get everything where I need it to be if I need to go quickly or something. So that's one of the reasons why. I'm looking out here. Yamil said that 5 dirtbags got into a shooting at a local gas station 2 miles. So maybe a trip to my gas station requires armor. That might be.
Yeah.
They're talking about EDC belts and all that. Backpacks. Yeah. I think the average person's probably be more willing to carry a backpack around than anything else. Chris says, why? Just because. No, I get that. No, EDC belts are phenomenal. Like I said, especially the ratchet belts. I really got into the ratchet belts the last 4 or 5 years, and I wear them every day now. That I wear them. I sell them in my golf shop, but I wear ratchet belts to work every day now. So every day, whether it's an EDC belt or it's a golf, whatever it is, I'm wearing ratchet belts. If you guys haven't, this is not a plug for anyone in particular, but if you haven't experienced a ratchet belt, man, they'll change your life. They're so much easier. I love them.
I haven't gotten into them yet. I'm still running leather, and then I've got I'm still running
belts now. So
I'm still running that True Spec 2-ply range belt. Still, that thing's still kicking. I've had that thing for years. It just will not wear out. Now it's not, for EDC carry. I mean, it does the job. If you're just, one small handgun or something like that, it does fine. It's not going to hold a whole bunch of gear on it, obviously.
Well, let's be honest. Once again, how much stuff are you planning on putting on your waist for EDC? You know what I'm saying? Like how much stuff you really plan on putting on there?
Yep. No, exactly. So yeah, we've got to pick somebody for this next segment. So if you're out there, if you've been commenting, you are eligible. If you're listening in replay, shame on you, because you can actually influence the show here, be a part of the show. We're going to I'm going to get up a share screen here just a second. I'm working on it anyway, and we will draw from somebody that has commented out there so far, and they will be able to give us a topic moving forward. So let's hit the button on this. Best of luck to everybody, and while we're waiting for the person to reply with the topic, we will talk about Taurus, who is our sponsor and who powers the viewer-driven topic segment. So here we go.
Hit the button. Let's see who we get. It could be interesting. Of what the topic will be.
Oh, it's Yamil.
I guarantee this could be interesting. So Yamil, give us a topic we'll talk about.
Any topic, not any topic, because if it could get us kicked off YouTube or something, probably not. But this is the Ghost and Clover podcast, so pretty much any topic goes. We talked about food last show, the entire show. So
music, cars, TV shows, movies, whatever. Yeah.
So throw us a topic out there, Yamil, and we will talk about it. So Taurus, Rossi, Heritage, all pretty cool stuff. I'll say it every time when we run this segment. Taurus is crushing it with the big bore revolvers. I mean, good Lord, that 460 S&W is just awesome. Ability to shoot several large, cartridges. It's interchangeable with the 460 S&W is, with several different large bore cartridges, which is cool. And heck, with the Heritage, that tactical cowboy, I think they call it, with the rail and the
Mm.
it's got the rail and the muzzle brake, and man, that dude. I mean, for a fun little revolver, which let's face it, that's what Heritage is. It's not designed for self-defense or competition or really anything like that. It's a budget-friendly 22 mag revolver to get out on the range and have fun. So, um, yeah, that's a cool one. And you could run a dot on a revolver with a muzzle brake. Why not, right? But the other stuff, I mean, you can speak more to the modern stuff. So,
Yeah. I like I said, I've shot tour stuff for a long time. But I never owned one until I don't know 3 or 4 years ago, and we got our topic here in a second. That's gonna be a good one, because I think we both are gonna have pretty interesting takes on this. Yeah, but yeah, there's semi stuff that I obviously that's more of my game. I really have enjoyed the last few years of what they've come out with the G3, the G4, even the G2s. They really did step up and took that next step into being a quality firearm for a good price. I think that before that, aside from maybe the PT, the 1911 and the 92 PT 92, most of their personally designed, if you will, semi-automatic pistols were less than stellar. But they did put a conscious effort into the G2, and then the G3 came out, and now the G4, and they've really done some great work with those. And they're good people. They're just good people over there too. But no, I really do enjoy. I'm looking at the G3 right there, and it's got a great feel to it. And mine's a full size, which is kind of odd because most people think I would carry the compact. I went with the full size, but it's still very lightweight, still very easily to carry and all of that. But no, I enjoy it. It shoots. Never had any issues with ammo. Never had any issues with anything. And for the price, it's a really great buy. Especially you can probably find a G3 now for crazy good deals right now. That's it's a couple-year-old model, but if they're still around out there, you can get them for a good price, and I would recommend them for anyone who's looking for an entry-level gun for sure.
Yeah, right. So Yamil out there, he's getting adjacent to trying to get us kicked off YouTube, but I think we can discuss this without getting too wild and crazy. He says woke Hollyweird. How bad things are getting and how actors are identifying as victims. So, where you want to take this one?
I'm going to take a little different position because I don't want to say just actors. I think celebrities / entertainers, whether they're music, whether they're actors, whether they're just social media influencers, YouTube people. That's the way it goes, and I'm going to take it two places. The first one is I'm really sick and tired of anything that doesn't go as planned for any of these people. Like I said, whether they're actors, musicians, influencers, personalities, whatever, if something doesn't go well for them or they're not as successful with something that they think they should, they always blame, and they're the victim of, man, they are shadow banning us, or they are doing this, or YouTube's going after gun things and they're not showing my videos, or singers, man, I can't even say anything, or this, that, and the other. I can't even say this in a TV show, or comedians. My God, they're destroying comedians, and it's terrible. But they utilize this victim thing. Now, the flip side of a lot of this is, let's just take the other flip side of Hollyweird. A lot of these actresses and all of that in the last 5 years have talked about being taken advantage of and how to do certain things to get certain parts, and with certain producers and certain companies and all of that. Here's the thing: you have a choice.
Yeah.
So these people were not thrusting themselves upon you. They were giving you the opportunity. If you want this, you could do this. And if you were so far against that, then you know what? You put being successful and famous in front of your values then.
Yeah.
You don't get to come back at this point and say, but he took advantage. No.
Well, bad decisions is something that people have been making for a long time. And I think
Yeah.
in the context of what you're talking about there, which is kind of the Me Too thing,
Yeah.
you know, a creep being a creep, and potentially even doing illegal things does
Yeah.
not absolve you from a completely bad, wrong decision,
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to sit there and say that
So,
those people are off the
no,
hook.
100%. Yeah.
You made the decision, you know.
Right. At least own that decision. And there's been some actresses that have come out and have actually said that. They have actually said, "Hey, this is part of this is on me." Now, um, I'm about had to go back over because I've got another window open. I'm about halfway through a podcast now, and I take a lot of heat for listening, watching this podcast, but I enjoy it because it brings just other perspective, and it's crazy that you mill through this topic out because it is Club Random with Bill Maher
Sure. Yeah.
and Jordan Peterson is the
So
guest.
let me ask you this before you go further.
Yeah.
Knowing Bill Maher,
Hmm.
that we all do, if you would have said 10 years ago that in 10 years from now, one of my favorite podcasts would be Bill Maher's, what would you say? There ain't
Right?
no
Like
way in
you're
hell that's
crazy.
happening,
You're
right? Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, you're crazy, right?
I'll
But
tell you
here's the
another one.
thing.
If you
I
want
mean,
Bill Maher,
he
go check
didn't
out Russell
change.
Brand's also. No. Well, okay, he didn't change.
That's the
He
thing. That's
didn't
what's
change, but
crazy
he's explaining himself more, maybe.
I know
You know?
that, but the thing is, see, he hasn't changed, and we're getting off topic here, and I mentioned that for a reason, but he hasn't changed. Everybody else in the whole movement, is basically hijacked liberalism, is what he
Sure.
claims, and so
Absolutely.
I think that's true. And so if that's true, if 20 years ago I would never envision myself listening to the Bill Maher podcast, what does that say about me? If he never changed and
Yeah.
yet right, like I've changed then, right? Um, so or maybe I wasn't ever like I thought I was to begin with. That's a possibility. But anyway, I bring that up to say if you want a lot of perspective, and he has right leaning people on and everything
He
else all
does.
the time, and
Yeah.
that's what makes it such an interesting conversation. And oftentimes, his with Gene Simmons was amazing because oftentimes they don't even talk politics and other stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, this one
Yeah.
was Jordan Peterson. They did get into the woke stuff, so that's kind of like Emil was talking about. And there's a couple of different things. There's 2 points I want to make on this, and they what they were discussing earlier that I listened to influences what I'm about to say about this a little bit, and then personal experience the rest of it. But number one, social media and social media has been around for a long time at this point. We're dealing with 20 years or so of social media at this point.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but social media has exponentially exploded the amount of narcissism that's out in the world. Whether that be Hollywood, whether that be politics, whether that be sports, entertainment, whatever, right? Like the people that think they're the ultimate of importance and the pinnacle of whatever, and
Mm.
like they have that in their head that they're just their opinion is the ultimate opinion for whatever reason they think that, right?
Right.
And it's so annoying to hear that. Like everybody needs to listen to me. I'm so and so basketball player, or football player, or soccer player, or actor, or actress, or politician because I'm that important or whatever. Like, no, you're a narcissist, is what you are, and you
Yeah.
need to check yourself. Um, so the whole mentality, it is also um, so you've got the rampant narcissistic attitudes of people in general, especially people with any type of popularity or what is the word of affluence maybe.
Sure.
Then you've got social media, three digs on social media, and social media is the devil. That's what I'm getting at. That's the theme, the spoiler alert of this little rant. But you've got the narcissism. Second, you've got the sociopathic tendencies. And there's a bunch of different elements. If you're not familiar with that, I invite you to do some research and run down this road. But there's a lot of different traits and things that go into being a sociopath. Uh, Ted Bundy was a certain type of sociopath. Not all people are Ted Bundy, right?
Correct.
So like a jacuzzi is a hot tub, but not all hot tubs are a jacuzzi. That's what I'm saying here. So I'm
Correct.
not saying if somebody out there is just because they have sociopathic tendencies, they're Ted Bundy. That's not what I'm saying. But the internet has really ramped that up because we see that people love suffering. I talk about this all the time, and I'm pointing fingers to some viewers and listeners out there that may even be this way. You had rather watch the train wreck and the death and destruction thereof than you had watched the whatever the awards ceremony for some academic college thing, or maybe what am
How
I
about
thinking?
how about watching the Nobel Prize
The
awards?
Nobel Prize. I was just thinking the Nobel Prize awards. Yeah,
Yeah.
something of that nature, something of a positive nature, right? Um, you'd rather if it bleeds it leads, and I'm not blaming the people that necessarily that do that. I'm just saying you need to wake up and realize you're doing that because you've been conditioned to do it. If it bleeds it leads. We know that we've known that for many years, right?
Yeah.
And so the problem is having that mentality of loving suffering, just being drawn into the drama and the suffering. That's a sociopathic tendency, just so you're aware. So I'm putting that out there to people. And then the third, which totally goes to the viewers, is and what kind of what Yamil, I'm bringing it back around to Yamil's original thing, which he says woke Hollywood, how bad things are getting, and how actors are identifying as victims. If the viewers, if the people out there would wake up and not allow that, and I've said this about big YouTubers and stuff constantly, that people see a persona, right? Just like they do an athlete, just like they do a politician, just like they do an actor. They see this persona and they take it as gospel and put them on this pedestal based on their persona, not who that person actually is, and not what their agenda is, right? And not whether or not that person is a narcissist or is a sociopath, right? They never consider that. Why? Because a lot of times it's just cool to follow that person and be in lockstep and like, oh, so and so is the goat, or ooh, I'm a big fan of this or a big fan of that person, or Trump, Trump, Trump. How much do we hear that? You know, like I'm so sick of hearing Trump. I'm sick of it, because there's people that don't look at Trump as he did more to destroy the Second Amendment than frickin' Obama did. Like, wake up, people. Like, he's a narcissist. We know this. It's undeniable, But yet there's people that still just unabashedly, unapologetically, blindly, I think, and that's the problem. Um, look up to these people and stuff, and it's like whether it's the right, whether it's the left, I don't care who it is. You need to look at that person, right? You need to look at that person. Don't look at what the person says. Don't look at what take a bigger picture, because anybody can tell you anything. But is what that person is saying consistent with what they've said throughout their history, right? If it's not, if they've been wishy-washy, is there a defining moment that you could point to say, oh, I get it. This happened in this person's life and their opinions and attitudes changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what do the people closest to that person look like? What do the people that are closest to that person say, not only about that person, but what is their views on the world and society and everything in general? But we don't. And a large portion of why that is the case is I think social media, again, I'm going to go back and hammer on that, and the anonymity or the anonymous nature that social media can provide harbors the stuff that gives, as Yamil was saying, that gives these narcissistic people, right, a platform where the masses can then come in and I guess adore them or whatever they can pander to.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest part of it as far as identifying as victims is the narcissism. A lot of these people that are famous for whatever reason, like Paris Hilton's famous for what? Like she's famous for being famous, but I don't know what she's done besides being the Hilton's daughter. But people that have influence that are famous for whatever reason, athletes, actors, musicians, comedians, whatever, they have the narcissistic tendencies to believe that anything that doesn't go perfect in their lives is someone else's fault. Well, here's a problem that I have, and you brought up social media. And I think, and a lot of people will tell you that Facebook is the worst thing on social media. I tend to disagree. I think the most dangerous social media platform, and it's why I don't engage in it at all ever, is Twitter. Because you're giving people the platform to assume that people want to hear what they have to say in 140 characters or less on any given topic. And if you were to go against them on Twitter, not just that person, but all of, like you said, all of these people that idolize this person will just destroy you. And a lot of these people have nothing else to do but to find out who you are in real life. And whatever. I think Twitter, when Twitter came along, Facebook was around, all these. I think when Twitter happened, that's when we started seeing the demise of what we call the entertainment world. Because at this point, the narcissism took over, and these people think that people are literally waiting. And here's the thing: there are people that are literally waiting on their favorite celebrities to give us their thoughts on X, Y, Z in 140 characters or less. I'll tell you one thing that you're talking about also, and I'm bringing up talking about who do they hang out with, what do their friends say about them. Here's a great one. I love watching people from a distance and see how they are when they think that nobody's watching them. Because that's going to give you the true character. What are they like when they think that nobody is watching them? How do they treat other people? How do they treat animals? How do they treat kids? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can find out about someone because most of these celebrities and most of these people are used to having cameras around everywhere they go. So they just get used to acting like how they want people to perceive them in public because cameras are always around. But what happens when there's someplace they don't think anyone's got a camera, and they may not have a camera, but you can still watch them, and you're going to find out their true personality when no cameras are around. And that's what I would say, that they get caught in situations, and then once again the victim card comes out because it's never their fault as to why something bad happens. You know, they create the drama. They create because drama sells. And what's that old saying? There's no such thing as bad publicity. They create bad publicity. I think a lot of people create the bad publicity so that they can use the victim card. I think a lot of it is created by themselves or their, I don't know, agents or their crew. There's stuff that is planted out that these celebrities want out that is created by themselves so that they can then use the victim card and get sympathy and all of that, which I think is, it's crap. But we probably need to move on from that. But yeah, the
Yeah,
victim.
I can't believe you would bash Don Johnson like that just because he hates
Hey.
old people and children and dogs. You know, that doesn't mean he's a bad person. Come on.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I've been around a certain golfer who that character was based off of.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's
awesome.
the real deal. Yeah.
That's awesome.
We won't talk about that live. We'll talk about those another time. But
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, old people, dogs, children. Yeah.
Yep. Old people, children, and dogs. Yep.
Yep.
So
plays up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we got to close this one out. So
Yeah.
Big thanks, of course, to EAA, European American Armory. Big thanks to Taurus. Heck, what do you got going on?
Lord have mercy. Another busy day, a busy week at work. The next month or so is gonna be nuts. I've got a big event coming up that takes about 6 weeks in planning and all of that. Anyways, but yeah, I still plan on getting to the range here pretty soon. I've got a bunch of stuff that I've got to get done. Got TriggerCon coming up in September. Clover and I will have some really interesting announcements about that in the next month or so.
You know what? We can throw out at this point, I think, a teaser because we've been talking about some cool things with TriggerCon. We've been talking about some cool things with Shot 24. And I think at this point, I think it's safe to say, and I think we can say it, that Bursa will be a part of that.
Yeah, we'll just that's where we're going to start with. We'll throw that initial teaser. Bursa is going to be a part of some industry stuff with us, and looking forward to that most definitely. I really wish we could tell them what it is because I can't wait. I think it's a really cool thing.
Industry and 2A. Industry and 2A. That's what's cool about it. Yeah.
Being that bridge between the two and having an opportunity with Bruce's help to do some really cool things coming up for sure. Mandatory carry out there. Keep fighting. Please check emails. Thank you for the super chat. Are you saying you sent me an email? I will check my email. I don't remember seeing one. That doesn't mean it's not there. And I apologize to anyone and everyone that send me an email that I don't necessarily see right away. I will get to it as soon as I can. And Rod, yes, I was going to send you a text. Thank you for the package. Did you? He was asking you if you got the package he sent. I got a package sent, and thank you so much for that.
I did. I'm a little confused, and so I got to get him on the horn.
You need to talk to him. It's for a specific reason. You'll understand when you talk to him. What do you got coming up?
Here in about a week or so, going to start working on getting the schedule set up for the CloverTac Podcast late 23 season. So looking at, hopefully at least 12 episodes of the late season this go around. So not sure yet what sponsors I've got nailed down or even what guests. I've got a few that I've never had on the podcast before that hopefully I can bring them in. And then got some old favorites, some old trusty favorites that we've seen before that I'm going to bring them back in. It's always fun to catch up and see what new things are going on. Outside of that, a ton of stuff coming in that we talked about. Obviously, the gun wall stuff that's here, earlier. We got a ton of other stuff coming in. So all kinds of videos, but we're into triple digit days here in Texas. So it is a battle to try and to get all of that stuff done and filmed and everything with triple digits, multiple times in and out to the range and everything throughout the day. You got to do it in small segments and then kind of lace it all together. It really does suck, but I got some real cool projects and videos and products and other things. Hopefully that'll be coming that way with that. And then seemed like there was something else. Dropped a CloverTac Reacts to Thursday with on video from Chris from the 740. So first of all, go check out Chris from the 740, and then or 740 is how I like to say it. And then because I don't like to give 40 any more publicity than it already has. I don't like 40.
I almost muted you when you said 740.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know. But anyway, go check out that reaction if you want, and then his channel. But that's all I've got. So.
We obviously want to say thanks to EAA and Tours for supporting the podcast. Thanks to everyone that shows up live, man. It's awesome to see the live because you guys are here. If you're watching this in replay, or especially if you're listening to this in podcast, fantastic. Thank you for doing that. But we do invite you to stay in touch and figure out when we're going live and recording this live and come join the live cruise. It's a fun one. Thank you to all of my patrons and YouTube channel members. Thank you to Clover's patrons and YouTube channel members. And thank you for always supporting both of our channels. and go support our sponsors. You don't have to necessarily buy anything from them right now, but go over to Instagram or Facebook and just find a random post that EAA or Taurus has put and just leave a comment. Say, hey, thank you guys for supporting Ghost and Clover on their podcast. And that'll be a great deal for a lot of reasons. But yeah, absolutely. If you could do that for us, that'd be wonderful. You got anything else before we pull the plug?
Dude, pull it.
Pull it. All right. We will see.
Burning too much power here. Pull the plug.
We are. That's right. Pull the plug. Pull it. We will see you in 2 weeks. And until then, remember, these pretzels are making me thirsty.
I don't want to be a pirate.